Welcome everyone to our second and last uh, quarterly meeting of MFVI. We are very happy to be sharing with you this hour. And as we see um, being more intentional and proactive in having this type of conversations in a more regular basis with you. We have a very exciting agenda. We're gonna be sharing with you some of the updates. We have Joe Malik from Ernst & Young, who's gonna be presenting very interesting topics about preparing for finances in 2022. We also gonna have a presentation, a very exciting one from Randy Garrett, our senior finance manager in some new products that we are developing here in pension boards. Always thinking about how is a better way to serve you guys. And after that, Judith is gonna give you some updates on just housekeeping items. We're preparing a survey that is gonna be out in the next couple of weeks, a month, to you, just to get your feedback and about the materials, your experience with MFVI. And then we're gonna have some 15 minutes, the remaining balance of our time, just to engage in an informal conversation. And now I'm gonna share with you 3 questions that we want. I'm gonna post it in advance because I want you to have time to think about them. And then at the end of the presentations, then we're gonna open up for a broader conversation. Let me just share my screen and you will let me know when you can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
What we want us to be able to talk about with you is we are very focused, and if I can be honest, completely honest, a little bit concerned of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on your personal lives and in your ministry. At this point, as we're moving through the 18-19 month of the pandemic, we want to invite you to reflect on how do you see 2022? And we want to share these 3 questions that I just want at this point. You keep in mind, Judy is gonna post it in the chat just for you to be able to read it through the presentation. But what we want is to invite you to think about when you see into 2022, what do you hope to see? What has changed in reality? The second question will be, as you envision 2022, what might be some realistic indicators that this change might be happening or might be possible? And please think about your personal life, but also your ministry. And thinking about that 2022 vision and the signs of change you have identified, what will need to happen in 2022 to make that healthy future more likely? The reason why we want to share this 3 questions with you is because in order for us to improve the service and the program, we need to see how you guys see the future ahead. What needs, what indicators, what are the opportunities that you still think we have ahead, so we can find a way to support you guys in achieving those milestones. So we have that said, I'm now gonna pass on to, stop sharing my screen, and I'm gonna pass on to Joe, my friend Joe Malek, that is gonna give you a great presentation about Essential.
Mommy. Yes. So,
And if you guys are
I will read it.
kind to unmute yourself while we have in the presentation. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Malik from Ernst & Young, and from a couple of the names and that I've seen introduce themselves and pop up on the screen, it looks like I've had the pleasure of assisting a couple of you folks. I also see I'm having a small technical issue. Can somebody confirm, are you seeing the first screen of my presentation, or do I go without the slides?
It just says that you're starting screen sharing, but nothing's coming up.
It looks like technology is letting me down, and rather than going through the reboot, I'll just go ahead and give the cover the material without the slides. But thank you, so that I know how to adapt. Anyway,
Can you just make sure that we get the slides so we can include that with the resources that we send as a follow-up?
yes.
Or Joe, if you want to send it by email to us, and I may try to upload it from our side.
Given
It's
where
your call. It's your
given
call.
where we are, given there's a time lag on that, I think I'd rather do the first and just backfill the slides so that we can maintain the schedule.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, as I said, welcome to today's discussion. We continue to live in the midst of an unprecedented event in our lifetimes, but we are seeing signs of recovery. As the stores are continuing to reopen, as the economy improves, it's now a very appropriate time for us to take a fresh look at our finances. Much has happened to us financially. A lot is still changing, and more will still continue to evolve. What we need to do today is just spend a little bit of time assessing where we are today as the storm is clearing, and be prepared to know where to go going forward. Toward that end, for many of us, the pandemic has changed or impacted multiple areas of our financial lives. Some or all of these important financial areas may be affected. The good news is you have free access to EY financial planners and financial planning as an MFVI benefit through the pension board to assist you. Let's take a look at try that again. Let's take a quick glance at some of the considerations for those topics today. First consideration is cash flow. And the key to remember is cash flow drives everything. Our spending has changed during the pandemic. We all probably have some new expenses. We have other expenses that have gone away, and there's still others that we're doing differently. We're probably having more food delivered. We're not driving as much, cutting down on the gas. Exercise, we're spending less time at the gym, maybe more time taking walks around the block or using our own gyms. Key is that's going to be changing the way cash is flowing through our various accounts. The key here is to take a moment on your own or with your EY planner to get a handle on your new normal cash flow, or at least your current normal cash flow. And remember, that's where everything starts. And I would say to remember to cast a wide net as the cash flow is still going to be evolving. Remember, some expenses that have gotten used to not paying may well come back, albeit a bit of a different number. Next up, and if we were looking at the next slide, I'd be mentioning that if you've accumulated some debt over time, or even just over the past year in dealing with things that are going on through the pandemic, we can help you develop a plan to get it paid off. We usually talk about 3 approaches to this. Tackling the highest interest rates first to save money on interest costs is one variation. Another variation is to attack the debt with the lowest balance first so that you can get a quick win. And in other cases, we might just go after the one with the biggest monthly payment to get things under control. Key to remember is there's not a one size fits all answer here, but working with your EY planner, we can help you get an inventory of the debts that are there and come up with a plan that makes sense for your particular situation. And another area that we would work on, the third on the list would be retirement and investment planning. And for some of us, the pandemic has given us a chance to supercharge our retirement planning. Others have actually had to take a step backwards to pause or at least reduce the savings to try and work their way through. Another thing that's happened is the market volatility over the last 18 months might have caused you to question how your monies are invested, your asset allocation. That's a very common first call to work with planners, is to get a focus on retirement and asset allocation planning so that we can adjust it to your current circumstances, or if it's slipped off track, get it back onto track. If it's on track, we can confirm that it's on track for the correct reasons. All reasons to take a moment to actually visit it and go through the exercise. The next area to view would be tax planning. And there are a number of reasons why this is a good reason to review your tax withholding. First of all, working from home to any degree might have created some new considerations due to different state or local laws. Home office expenses might now be appropriate for you where they weren't in the past. All sorts of little things like that are worth reviewing. Might also be necessary to review your W-4 withholding from a tax viewpoint, recognizing at the beginning of 2020, the Internal Revenue Service introduced a new Form W-4 and a new online estimator to go with it, which drastically changed the process, but also produces a more accurate amount of withholding if you go through the exercise properly. If you want to go through that on your own, you certainly can, but if you reach out to your EY planner, we will be glad to work you through that particular process so that we can fine tune that to just your particular circumstances. Moving on to the next topic, which would be insurance and estate planning. In all seriousness, the pandemic has reminded us just how precious life really is, how it can change in an instant, and the importance of making sure that our financial affairs are in order to protect those of us we will eventually leave behind. Life insurance and estate planning are very valuable tools to help care for your family when you no longer can. Now, with all this going on, is a good time, if you haven't recently done it, to recheck your beneficiary forms. Take the time to update your will and your advanced medical directive if necessary. If you've never created the will or created the advanced medical directive, this is a reminder that that's something that needs to be on your to-do list so that you can have things in place before you need them and before nobody knows what your particular desires are, in a form that can be legally enforced. And you'll always want to make sure that you have your life and your health insurance scenarios also in proper order. These are all things that you can have a discussion with your EY planner just to make sure that everything is in good order from the estate and the insurance planning. Having hit the broadest topics, what I want to just do is remind you that you can get information and guidance by calling the EY Navigate Planner line to speak to your planner. You can also register online, and if you haven't previously been set up with an EY planner, EY Navigate will also assign one of the members from our MFVI team for the pension board to you to be able to work with. We can help you assess your net worth and get a handle on your cash flow. We can help you create an appropriate spending plan. Develop, as I've mentioned, developed a debt reduction and a debt prevention plan. Help you fine tune your retirement savings and your investment plan to make sure that you're getting the maximum mileage for the monies that you are saving through the pension board and potentially some other vehicles towards your retirement, so that all of those horses are pulling in the correct direction and the same correct direction. We can help you review your insurance and estate planning goals. And I'll couch that by reminding you that while we can help you with the goals, there will still be some pass-offs to your attorney in your state who will help you be able to put the appropriate legal documents in place to implement those goals. But by having the conversation with us, that'll leave you in a position to better leverage the time of the that you spend with the attorney. And of course, you can always set up follow-up appointments with your planner so that we can continue to monitor your particular plan, as well as make adaptations and adjustments as the situation warrants it. And lastly, I'm going to end up having to read through this. I did have a visual here that was going to show a list of a number of particular goals, but the goal would be, what 3 actions out of the following list might you be willing to commit to following this webinar? Number A would be to, letter A would be to create and review your net worth statement. B would be to create and review your cash flow statement. C, to implement a debt reduction and elimination plan. D, to build or rebuild your emergency fund. E would be to create a plan to track for retirement. F will be to rebalance your portfolio and reallocate as appropriate. G would be to review your insurance coverage and needs. H would be to create or update your estate documents. I would be to use the EY Navigate online tools and digital resources. And J would be to actually reach out to an EY planner and get started planning on a one-on-one basis. Take some time, think to that, commit to it, and then reach out to us through the tools that are available. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass back to Judith.
Thank you, Joe. Randy, I think you're next. Do you need to present slides?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I have a slide. I'll go ahead and share that. Just let me know. Does everyone see it? Should be a financial resources slide.
Yes.
All right, great. So, it's my pleasure and honor to really discuss a related program. I say related because this is separate from the MFVI program. However, as you will see, it's definitely related and it can actually complement the MFVI program, and that's really our intention. So the name of the company is Generations Financial Resources, Inc. And what it is it's a nonprofit specialty lending corporation controlled by the pension boards. And it was established by the pension boards to provide personal loans to eligible ministers at very competitive interest rates. And the intention of that is for those funds to be used to pay down higher interest educational and or other unsecured debts, because it's all related. It's one loan is not in a bubble by itself. It all speaks to your overall financial profile. And the specifics of the program is the loan amounts range. You can apply anywhere from 5,000 up to 15,000. Flexible repayment terms, you can choose from 5, 7, or 10 years. And the rate is fixed at 4%, and that is a program feature. So it doesn't depend on your credit score or anything like that. It is 4% is the rate that is offered to everyone. And that's really the crux of that. That's really the power of this product, because by driving down the interest rates, lower levels. What it does is two things. It gives you some choices. So what you can do is you can keep paying the same amount on whatever balance you have, but it now pays it down faster because you have the lower rate. Or it allows you to reduce the current required monthly payment that you're paying and still pay it off in the same time. So you have some flexibility to to address your debts. And it actually, everything that Joe just went through, this program complements that. So what we want to do is to say, okay, as you get the education from MFVI and you get the training and you get the know-how and the game plan, then we want to offer tools to allow you to put that into place. So the pension boards already has different products that we've spoken about, and now this is a new product. So just continuing, no prepayment penalties. If you take a 10-year term and you're able to pay it off sooner, you just give me a call and we would proceed accordingly. So no penalties there. Each person receives a personalized debt management plan when you apply. Again, I'm the program director. You speak to me at all times. You don't get transferred to some random call center. So I'm always the guy. You may or may not like that aspect, but at least you know who you're going to speak to each time. And my job is to really sit down with you and understand your personal challenges and come up with a game plan that works for you, rather than to try to just apply a blanket process, because we know that doesn't work. In addition to that, what I think is a really cool feature is that the principal, so you take a loan and as you make your payments, the principal that you pay back becomes immediately available for new lending. So it recycles into the program, and that's what we call our pay it forward feature. And there are the program has been in existence for 1 year. We started off with a small pilot version, and so we already have 7 people that are in the program that I've issued loans to as of 9/30, and I've dispersed $75,000 in total loans. So that's just to show you there's real, your fellow MFVI participants are in it, and as far as they've communicated to me, they are pleased with the program. Just to go over the eligibility, quickly. So first, you must be an ordained UCC minister, currently employed by any UCC related entity. So it's broad as long as it's within the UCC universe. Have to complete at least 1 year of MFVI, and by the end of this year, pretty much everybody that's currently in the program will have completed at least 1 year. So that means you would all be eligible based on that criteria. Also, no overdue payments on current loans. However, if you are behind on any loans and you're interested, I still want to hear from you. Please don't feel like you can't reach out. I can tell you that there was one person that was behind in loans. They reached out to me. I worked with them. We came up with a plan. I was able to work with them to get them back on track. And then once they got back on track, they were able to then apply for a loan, and they were able to obtain a loan. So please, the message is, if you know that you want to know more, reach out. If you're not sure, you still reach out. I'd love to hear from you and discuss and answer any questions, and to help you come to a better sort of awareness of how you should best proceed. And even if hey, if you're not interested and you have a good thing going, I'd like to hear from you again, because maybe you have information that I could share with other folks. So I just say that you can call me. The contact information is on the slide at the bottom right. You can call, email, and I will definitely make the time to respond. That's pretty much the high level introduction to the lending program. we will, going forward, we will be distributing. There was actually an initial email that went out. So whether you've seen it or not, I wanted to also talk about it here. And we will, have future communications going out in the form of email and also on the Facebook page. So check the Facebook page often. And again, any questions, feel free to reach out. The easiest thing is to just go to send an email to info@genserve.org and I'll receive the message.
Randy,
Yep.
can you take one question, please?
Sure,
Is it
sure.
okay, Joaquin? The question is, one of the qualifications is ordained UCC minister. Now we have pastors that were not ordained in the UCC, but they have standing in the UCC, ordained in other denominations.
Yeah, I standing in the UCC is, I think that's fine. As long as there's a UCC, so ordained or standing, if they're in good standing in the UCC, then I believe that should be okay as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that is right. Pastors coming into this denomination from a different denomination that are authorized by UCC are eligible. And not only for this program, but for all other of our grant programs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and just moving on, I wanted to switch gears a little bit in the next slide. I wanted to just introduce this topic because there was some recent developments and news that went out related to the federal government's public service loan forgiveness program. And so I'm going to start off by saying that this is things are constantly changing and evolving. And full disclosure, I'm not an expert. So what I'm doing, I'm just giving some high level information that I obtained from the government web resources and put them here for you. Again, there's contact info that you can then follow up. But just to go over the kind of the features real quick. So there were requirements which were unchanged, which remain, and that is to be eligible. You have to be employed by either government, 501c3, not-for-profit. That's where the UCC ministry really comes in, or other nonprofit organization must be working full-time. And the type of loans that are eligible, you must have what are called direct loans, or you can consolidate your other federal loans into direct consolidation loans by October 31st, 2022. And if you do that, anything that is consolidated under that direct loan program becomes that's one of the items in the eligibility. And then the balance of those loans are forgiven after 10 years of qualifying loan payments. So they look back 10 years, and qualifying is in quotes because even that term has evolved in terms of what is meant by qualifying. So some of those changes there is, if we go down to the next level, and again, like I said, these were changes that just came through on October 6th. So those past 10 years of payments were, there was a lot of restrictions that were relaxed. At one point, if you had underpaid something by a penny, that would disqualify you. And that may have been 5 years ago. And then you'd have to start the clock all over. So they've relaxed some of that. So now past payments under any plan can count. In the past, it had to be strictly you had to be in an income-driven repayment plan, but that has been relaxed as of the 6th. And like I said, payments that have been ineligible in the past may now count to your 10-year record. And going on, the program is free. So there's concerns that, in this day and age that we live in, that ministers may be targeted by unscrupulous people that may, say that for a fee, they can guarantee that you'll get the loan forgiven and all that kind of stuff. So it's a free program. So beware of anyone contacting you requesting a fee to file applications for forgiveness. If you are interested, the best thing is to work directly with your federal loan servicer. So whoever the servicing company is, work directly with them. And all of this info is available at I will also put this in the chat, but it's available at that link. That's the federal student aid website, and the number to call if you have any questions that you'd like to speak to a human being about is that number there. And some loans remain ineligible. So Parent Plus loans and loans from private lenders are ineligible. And of course, any kind of unsecured, loans in the form of credit card loans or personal loans or anything like that are ineligible as well. And again, Generations, our role is to help you with any loans that cannot be addressed through this program. So again, if you can get all your loans forgiven through this program, please, by all means, do it. You don't have to, come to me to talk about any lending if you can get it all forgiven. But anything that you can't, Generations Financial Resources is definitely we want to help. So that's pretty much the end of my my discussion. I can stop sharing now. Happy to take any questions.
Randy, this is the Reverend Christian Briones speaking. I had a question. There's the 4% fixed rate on the loan. When does that start to, after you make the disbursement of the loan, when does the person who received the loan have to start paying that back?
Sure, great question. So the timing that we run on is on a first of the month basis. So if you get all of your disclosure forms and paperwork completed and signed before the end of whatever the current month that you're in, then the loan is dispersed on the first day of the following month. And the first payment would then be, the income will start accruing from that first day, but your first payment is due the first day of the following month. So let's say this month you completed your forms in, say, today, then I would disperse the funds to you November 1st. Your first payment will be due December 1st. And actually with that, we are fully electronic, so no paper. You don't have to write any checks or anything like that. You pretty much provide your banking information. I deposit the loan directly into your bank account. And then when the repayment starts, those amounts are auto debited from that same account automatically. So you don't have to worry about writing a check and worrying about if it gets in time and all of that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Randy, I have a question for you. This is Eric Moeller. This pertains to the loan forgiveness program. So as part of the stimulus, we haven't had to make student loan payments for some time. That'll kind of end in January. But are we still considered, is that year still included in the last 10 years? Do you get what I'm saying? Even though we have
right, good question. So because it's a moratorium that the government put in place, they won't hold that against you.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I had another question if anyone else doesn't have another voice.
Sure, go ahead.
Question. Yeah, I was wondering how in touch this program is with the MFVI. I was wondering specifically if I were to contact a financial advisor from EY, if they could talk me through if this would be a good move for us to make, getting involved with the program that Randy's presenting here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Always speak with your financial planner, to discuss any sort of decisions or anything that you may be wrestling with. Like I said, the program is meant to really complement everything that you're doing in MFVI. So definitely keep that relation with your financial planner. Keep doing what you're doing, and if based on that, you believe that the loan could be helpful, then like I said, I'm happy to to start that process with you. I could also add that there's folks that I have contacted me, and upon learning about, the specifics of their finances, I determined that actually they were fine with what they were doing, and there was no reason to enter into dispersing a loan. So it's a nonprofit. We're not trying to make money. It's really just here to help. And if we feel that you're already good and we can't help you, then that actually, I'm happy. That's a good problem.
And I want to add that this type of resources that this new program that Randy is leading is the result of this learning process on MFVI. What we want is to become partners on your way and on your path to your financial well-being. We understand that with limited grant resources, you probably won't be able to overcome a big amount of financial debt. But if we combine that financial grant incentive with a loan, we are more becoming a partner to you on your process. And exactly what we want to do is to be able to learn from your experience, for us to create the product, service, and resources that are going to help you walk through your financial well-being.
Randy, PCSA.
Yep.
I understand that you highlighted there is other unsecured debts, basis of one of the basis for these loans. My question is there a collateral for example, a pastor is applying for a loan and then the loan will be default somewhere or any? I'm not thinking of that because we all have faith. We're ministers because the loan is for open up to ministers.
Yep.
I'm just talking about when a loan is default and it's not going to be repaid. Is that going to be on the church where the pastor is serving?
Great question. So that's actually that scenario is actually something we thought long and hard about when we were setting up the program. So in terms of relation to the church is not going to bear any liability for the loan. So this is a personal loan issued from Generations Financial Resources directly to the minister. So if they default, and they can't repay, it's Generations Resources that bears that loss, not the church. And we would not, seek to recoup those monies from there. Now, what that does do, it does put the risk on Generations Financial Resources. So we do have to protect our capital. So again, that's actually the very reason why part of the eligibility is that you have to complete 1 year of MFVI, because we want folks to get start to get an understanding. Because again, this is not in a bubble, right? So this is really in relation to all of your financial challenges and all of your financial aspirations. So by having this MFVI resource, we know that folks that come through this are better equipped and more informed to receive a loan. And again, you have there's flexibility in terms of how much debt you take on. And that's why, like I said, part of the other requirement of the program is where, I get to know each person's specific challenges and goals. So for someone, it may make sense to take a loan of $15,000 because I know that they can, there's a decent chance that they can handle that. For other folks, that might have been too much money for them to handle, and other folks have borrowed as little as $5,000. And again, it's whatever works for the person. But yeah, great question. one of my responsibilities, I guess, to the pension boards is to minimize the risk of default as much as possible. So, but however, if in the event that that does happen, yeah, the church would not bear any liability, and it's an unsecured loan, so the minister also would not, you know, there wouldn't be any claim on any of like his house or his or her house or anything like that. So that's kind of how it works.
Thank you, Randy.
I have a question. If it's paid back, there's no penalty for early repayment.
Right.
Do you save on the interest if you pay it back early?
Sure. Yeah. So the interest accrues each day. So you pay it back sooner, that's less interest you pay. And also that's also why we have the flexible repayment terms. So the longer you take to repay, you might have a lower monthly payment, but you'll pay more in interest over the time. So again, it depends. Depending on the situation, it might be better to have the lower monthly payment and have the flexibility, or it may be better for the person to have a slightly higher monthly payment, but they're paying less interest over time. But in general, yeah, if you pay it off sooner, then that's less interest.
Randy, can you highlight the pay it forward sustainability feature?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I love this feature. So again, the money that you pay back. So you take a loan today, like I said, and you get a loan on November 1st, and your first payment begins December 1st, and on and on. Each month, as those payments come in, you're going to be paying interest and principal. So the interest goes to funding the organization's operations to sort of keep the lights on. The principal is automatically put right back into the lending program to lend to another minister. So the program is self-sustaining in that regard, even if there's no new capital that is given to the program. As the money is paid back, that can be made available to new folks. So you're not only helping yourself, you're actually helping your fellow ministers each month that you make your payment, because that allows me to keep costs low. I don't have to go out and look for new funds and fundraise, or maybe, you know, enter into other costly kind of ways of obtaining capital. So it's a beautiful feature. It's you're helping yourself, and you're helping your fellow ministers, and you're helping the program sustain itself.
Anyone else? If not, we're gonna open to going back to our original 3 questions, because we are very much looking forward to hearing from you guys. What are your hope for the future in 2022? So let me go back and share my screen, and let's talk about this. I know that the pandemic times had an impact in the majority of the life of people that are here in this meeting. For example, if I'm gonna talk to you about my personal experience, I used to own my consulting company. When the pandemic hit, I knew immediately that as a consultant, the organizations will cut first the outsourcing contract and services. In my personal life, the most responsible way things to do was to go back to the marketplace, to job marketplace. And I went back to the marketplace, and I was grateful because I found this position in the pension boards, and I've been in the pension board for the last years and 3 months. That was a huge change for me, because it's like a giving up a dream, a long-lasting dream of my life, to become my own boss, to go back to a position that I was so much looking forward to live. But again, with this challenge and this change also comes the reward, because working on the patient board, serving this extremely special population is a great thing. It's the best that could happen to my life. And what I see myself in 2022 is continue developing and sustaining programs that will help you to improve, enhance, and develop your own ministry. With that have said, I want to open to you and I want to ask you, what is your hope for 2022? What has changed from this type of pandemic? Please, just, it's an open mic type of dynamic. Should I volunteer people? Judith, where do you see yourself in 2022? How's that changed?
For me personally, what has to change is my ability to do more, to practice more self-care. Because I think since the beginning of the pandemic, it's just the work has escalated and more time at home. So you have more productivity. So for me, self-care is top priority for me next year.
Great, great.
Okay, this is Jesse. I would hope that 2022 will give me a new vision, approach for approaching ministry as a local church pastor. Instead of centralizing ministries, sort of decentralizing it in another approach where it could really help the people with their spiritual lives. I know the way we've been doing it is they come to church and they come to all the programs in the church in order for them to receive this nurturing. But 2022 is going to be different, probably more difficult than 2021. So for me as a pastor, that's what I'm thinking. It's the same thing that we do with the homeless folks around here, trying to help them. So instead of building camps here in the church or inviting them to come, but we sort of decentralize it to people and have them go and do the ministry out there. So it's church scattered, more so than church scattered.
Very well, easier. If what are the indicators that should manifest in 2022 for you to feel that things are improving? What do you expect to see, to be able to say, okay, we're moving in the right direction?
Well, you're not asking me, right? You're asking everyone.
I'm exactly asking you, what those indicators? What do you expect to see to say, okay, we are moving in the right direction, we are getting better? What indicators needs to manifest themselves for you to say that?
Okay, for me personally, and also here in my local setting, the indicator is people are coming to church. Mm-hmm. They're dispelling that fear. Instead of fear knocks at the door. So I think they need to use faith to answer that door. So I see them coming to church. It's packed in my own setting. So that's the indicator that I know they're hungry for their spiritual life, for the word, and so that to me that's the indicator. They wanted to come back to church. Some of them were gone even before the pandemic, but they're coming back.
Yeah. And let me tell you this, this is very consistent with what we have been hearing all across different churches and institutions. They just want to regain that stability and have people coming back and going back to the new normal, but also recovering that sense of community that being together always offer us. And I think this is the main thing for people in ministry. They want to be back where they were before the pandemic in terms of community.
That's true.
Anyone else? Please go ahead. Don't be shy.
Hey, Joaquin, Pastor Joaquin, if I may.
Sure, go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Pastor Moivao from Huntington Beach, California. I wanted to follow up on your question here. This past Sunday, mainly for some of those who are listening in within our Samoan tradition and culture, it was designated as White Sunday. Just like as we have Father's Days and Mother's Day. So October the 2nd of every year is designated to the children. And we call it White Sunday, or in our Samoan language, Lotu Samaiti. And I wanted to follow up on the conversation that you have spoken on as far as people missing the fellowship within the sanctuaries. It was decided upon myself and the church officers of our church not to have the normal that we would have every year and prepare skits and things of that nature because of the pandemic. But we have decided that we're going to have each family prepare, being that the CDC as well as the health department is saying that if you're in the same household and you're caring for yourselves, then that would be pretty much better off than having a group of people coming together and having that chance of spreading the pandemic here. So we decided that each family will prepare their own whatever, if it's a memory verse to share. And we also decided that we were going to open up our sanctuary this Sunday because it's been over a year, almost 2 years now, as you alluded to earlier. Sanctuaries have been closed. Now, some states and counties have different regulations. Even though we're all in California, the city of Los Angeles might be allowing 25% or 50%, but other counties are only allowing 20% still. Long story short, it was surprising to me and my wife and our congregation to see how many people that showed up for the service.
Yeah.
And the feedback that I received after the service was they missed the fellowship, the coming together of God's people. Now, I know, and I say this with all due respect to the health department and CDC, but as children of faith and people of God, sometimes, especially us as pastors or as leaders of our communities and our churches, we need to reinstill in them for the coming year that we must step out in faith, but at the same time, taking in regards and following all the procedures and the guidelines that are still put out there, such as wearing your mask, social distancing, and all those requirements. Just because we're going to step out in faith does not mean that we can go against the policies and procedures that have been put in place by those who are in authority, such as the health department. my point being is, so it doesn't go on and on, is it was so refreshing to see how many people that came to church. And that was the feedback that I received, is that they missed the fellowship of the saints, the coming together. So with that being said, I think for me, for 2022, is to be able to spend more time in prayer and seek out where God's will is and how he have that discernment of spirit on how to go about continuing with church service and opening the sanctuary. At the same time, not breaking any laws and procedures that's put in place. Along that line, I really like what I think it was the pastor that opened up the conversation. Pastoral care is very, very important. You know, there's a lot of people that are calling, wanting to talk, and for us to listen to their problems that they're facing, challenges. But at the same time, we as pastors, we have to be mindful that we have to take care of ourselves in order to be able to take care of our congregation. So with that being said, thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for this very blessed meeting here. And God bless everyone.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good and important comments. Anyone else? If not, we are approaching to 3:59. So Judy has some household items to go with you. Judith?
Yes, very briefly, as Joaquin mentioned earlier in the meeting, do expect an email for everyone to participate in our yearly survey of the MFVI program. It'll be an opportunity to, again, get your feedback on what's working for you, what's not working for you. Also get an opportunity to share some of your honest feedback with us. You know, share your successes, your failures, and just, you know, maybe share a few testimonials of how you have been journeying through this personal financial wellness with us. Secondly, there will be an e-blast that we'll send out probably in the next week or so that'll have the meeting recording, along with another packet of article resources that are all, again, mostly from Ernst & Young on personal finance topics. And you'll get another devotion for your journey from our very own Reverend Dr. Jim Moose. And then I want to remind you of next Thursday, October 21st, we have our EY webinar, our Power Up Your Finances webinar on estate planning. It's a 30-minute, I'm going to put it on the chat. It's a 30-minute webinar on what you need to prepare for your estate planning needs. You can copy and paste that while we're still on. And also, our next meeting is probably not going to be until January of 2022, giving you Thanksgiving and Christmas off. So just be on the lookout for the next meeting, probably in December, once we secure a date in January. So we'll meet again in January. But that's it. Thank you for participating.
I just had one thing to add before we go. Again, in relation to the lending program, in this day and age of, you know, information, you know, corporations doing bad things with it, just want to ensure everyone, any information you share is kept strictly confidential. There are literally only 6 people in the organization that will have access to it, and they are all, you know, high-level executives. So again, don't hesitate. Feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Jude. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, everyone, for meeting with us today. It was a great meeting, and we really appreciate you, your ministry, and we're here to partnership with you on your ministry and in your personal life. So please reach out, give us feedback, help us to grow this program and do it better for you and others in the United Church of Christ. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.